Night has fallen at the edge of the world. Beyond the two stone pillars marking the end of the Mediterranean, a golden cup moves across the black waters of ocean. Inside it stands Heracles, wrapped in the lion's skin, sailing toward an island stained red by the setting sun. Waiting there is Geryon, a warrior with 3 bodies, 3 shields and 3 spears, and the herd Eurystheus has ordered Heracles to steal. But Geryon is not the true difficulty of this labor. For once, killing the monster will be the easy part. When we left Heracles, Hera had turned one lie into a war with the Amazons. He returned carrying Hippolyta's belt, but not the piece in which she had offered it. Eurystheus barely lets him set it down before sending him farther away than any labor before it. Apollodorus says the order was to fetch the cattle of Geryon from Erytheia, not kill them, not bring back a horn as proof. Heracles had to take a living herd from an island beyond ocean and deliver it intact to Tiryns. Eurystheus has finally discovered logistics. Erytheia means something like the Red Place. Hesiod puts it beyond famous ocean, where the cattle graze in the light of sunset. Later Greeks identified it with land near Gadara, modern Cadiz, beyond the Strait of Gibraltar. To them, this was not merely far west, it was where west ran out. Geryon belonged at that boundary. His father Chrysaor had sprung from Medusa when Perseus cut off her head. His mother Callirrhoe was a daughter of ocean. Geryon was born from the blood of one monster and the waters surrounding the earth. He did not live at the world's edge by accident. Ancient artists disagreed about exactly what he looked like. 3 heads on one body, 3 complete bodies joined together, wings in one version. Apollodorus gives the clearest design, 3 men grown together at the waist, separating again at the flanks and thighs, not 3 brothers, one warrior who could attack and defend in every direction. His red cattle were guarded by Eurytion, an enormous herdsman, and Orthrus, a 2-headed dog born to Typhon and Echidna. Orthrus was the brother of Cerberus. Heracles does not know it yet, but before the labor's end he will meet both dogs, one beneath the sunset and one beneath the earth. First Heracles has to reach them. Apollodorus compresses the journey into a few lines, across Europe, through Libya, destroying dangerous beasts along the way. Diodorus turns it into a military campaign with armies, kings, and cities. The older shape is stranger and cleaner. One man keeps walking west until the familiar world disappears behind him. In Libya, the heat becomes unbearable. There is no monster to strike and no king to blame. Only the sun, hanging above him day after day. So Heracles stops, draws one of his Hydra-poisoned arrows, and aims it directly at Helios. It may be the most Heracles solution imaginable. If the weather hurts him, he threatens the weather. Helios could burn him where he stands. Instead, the sun god admires the nerve. A mortal is furious enough to shoot at daylight itself, and Helios decides that deserves assistance. Helios lends him the golden cup, in which the sun crosses ocean each night to return from west to east. This is not a drinking cup tucked under one arm. In ancient art, it is a shining vessel, broad enough to carry a hero across the waters encircling the world. At Tartessus, Heracles raises 2 markers opposite one another, one in Europe and one in Libya. Later tradition makes them the pillars of Heracles at Gibraltar. The message is simple: I came this far. Everything beyond them belongs to ocean, sunset, and stories. Then he climbs into the cup and sails into darkness. The Mediterranean had coasts, islands, and routes known to sailors. Ocean was different. Greeks imagined it as the vast river encircling the earth. Heracles is not crossing another sea, he is leaving the human map. At last Erytheia rises from the red water. Heracles lands beneath Mount Abas and waits. No army came with him, no elaborate plan. He has crossed the world to steal cattle from a family that has never harmed him, and the first creature to understand his purpose is the dog. Orthrus charges. 2 heads, 1 body, both sets of jaws aimed at the stranger. Apollodorus says Heracles strikes him with the club. The brother of Cerberus falls guarding the herd he was bred to protect. Eurytion runs to help the dog, and Heracles kills him too. Hesiod remembers both deaths in the gloomy pasture beyond ocean. There is no trick here and no moral excuse added later. Heracles has come for the cattle. the guardians stand in his way. Someone sees it. Menetes, who tends the nearby cattle of Hades, runs to warn Geryon. Even at the end of the world, the god below owns livestock. Greek mythology is remarkably consistent about property. Apollodorus sends Geryon straight into battle. Stesichorus gives him a moment first. His mother Callirrhoe begs him not to go. She reminds him that she nursed him, that he is her son, and that he does not have to die for a herd. For one instant, the monster is simply somebody's child. Geryon understands the choice: give up the cattle and live, or meet the thief and defend his name. Stesichorus treats him like a hero from the Iliad, fully aware that courage will not save him. He takes the shields anyway. Beside the river Anthemus, Geryon finds Heracles driving the herd away. 3 shields overlap across his bodies, 3 spears level at once. Aeschylus compared his advance to Ares himself. This is the fight Eurystheus imagined when he chose the labor. Heracles does not wrestle him. He does not test 3 shields with the club. He reaches for an arrow darkened years earlier in the blood of the Hydra. The second labor has been waiting inside his quiver for this exact moment. The arrow slips past the bronze and enters Geryon's forehead. Stesichorus compares him as he falls to a poppy losing its petals, its neck bent beneath sudden weight. It is an unexpectedly gentle image for the death of a 3-bodied giant. Geryon chose a heroic stand. The poem gives him a hero's ending. And that is the famous battle. Orthrus, Erytheia, and Geryon are gone. Heracles owns the cattle. In a shorter myth, this would be the ending. Here it is the midpoint. A dead guardian stays where he falls. A herd has opinions. He loads the herd into Helios's cup, crosses ocean, and returns the vessel to the sun. Then the drive begins, from Tartessus through Iberia, along the northern Mediterranean, toward Italy, Sicily, Thrace, and finally Greece. Every mile gives the cattle another chance to scatter. In Liguria, 2 sons of Poseidon try to steal them. At Rhegium, 1 bull breaks away, swims to Sicily, and disappears into the herds of King Eryx. Heracles leaves the others with Hephaestus, tracks the bull down, and wins it back in a wrestling contest. The monster is dead. The errands have multiplied. Then Hera intervenes. She sends a gadfly into the herd near the Ionian Sea. 1 sting becomes panic. Hundreds of cattle break apart and race into the mountains of Thrace. Heracles has crossed ocean, defeated Geryon, and recovered the runaway bull. Hera answers with an insect. He pursues them through the foothills and gathers what he can. Apollodorus admits that some are never recovered and become wild. This labor does not end with the perfect herd Eurystheus ordered. It ends with whatever survives the road. The river Strymon blocks the route. Heracles blames the river and fills its channel with boulders until it can no longer be navigated. This is not elegant engineering like the Augean stables. It is a tired man rearranging the landscape because one more obstacle has annoyed him. At last he reaches Tiryns and hands the cattle to Eurystheus. The king sacrifices them to Hera. After all the distance, all the guardians, and all her attempts to scatter them, the herd ends on the altar of the goddess who tried to stop its arrival. Heracles completes the 10th labor by delivering Hera her own sacrifice. Geryon was the image everyone remembered, but he was never the labor's deepest threat. The real enemy was distance. Heracles could end a battle with 1 arrow. He could not make oceans smaller, keep cattle from wandering, or prevent Hera from finding one more delay. Strength wins the moment. Endurance gets the herd home. These were supposed to be the final 10 labors. Eurystheus refuses to count the Hydra and the Augean stables, so freedom moves away again. The 11th command sends Heracles searching for the golden apples of the Hesperides. This time, nobody will even tell him where they are.